Hello, guys of United Rock Nations. We are in amazing company with Evan Stanley of Amber Wild. How are you?
I'm great, man. Thanks for having me.
So we are here, of course, to talk about the new band. But when we listen your previous songs as a solo artist, um, you were more into poppy songs. What motivated you to switch to rock style?
Well, I think as a musician, I love a bit of everything. And I think ideally you pull from a lot of places to make something that's your own. Through the pandemic, the world was kind of shut down and there wasn't too much going on. So I was hanging with a couple friends a lot and we were just making a lot of stuff. So it was more, let's just put something out because nothing's happening. But really for me, rock has always been my home base. I mean, I started as a guitar player and from when I first picked it up when I was like 11, my only goal was let's just play really loud guitar in front of a bunch of people. That'd be sick. That's always been, my biggest passion and dream is live rock music. There's something really special about connecting with people live. And I think getting this band together, that was kind of the really the goal. And that was the kind of guiding light from the beginning with the guys was we want to make great records, but we want to put on a really great show and connect with people live, especially coming out of being locked in for so long. It feels so good just get in front of people and share that energy and that bond. There's nothing like it.
Absolutely. So Amber Wild is on now on the run. Tell us how Marshall, Jake, and Thomas were involved in the band.
Yeah, well, Thomas is the drummer, Marsh is the other guitar player and sings, and Jake's the bass player. And it's great because it's everyone really, really brings something unique to the table that rounds this out in a way that no single one of us could by ourselves. When we first got together, I met Thomas first just by chance at a diner, and I'd heard him play. And I knew he was a killer player, and we kind of hit it off. And I had a gig like a week later that I lied to an agent in a club and said like I had this great band, but I had no band. And I was like, "Do you want to play this show with me?" And he's like, "Yeah, all right." And when we first played together, there's actually a video we have I just posted that it's the very first time we ever played together at this really dingy, shitty little rehearsal spot. It's a basement in North Hollywood in LA. And it's still, even though it's the first time, like you can feel there's something there, like it feels right. And the way that we played off of each other really clicked. So I was like, you should just join the band. He's like, I'm in. And he knew Marshall. I always knew like all my favorite bands have two guitar players, and ideally you get two really great players. Then you need another singer too. And he was like, I got the guy. And that was Marsh. And Marsh just started for the first month that we were together. Marsh just started showing up everywhere because T would text him and be like, we're going to be here. Like, just come hang. So he started showing up all the time. And then he was over at my place. I'm like, well, he's a great vibe. And like T says he's great. So he played a little guitar at my place and was like, all right, you're in. And that was that. And then Jake, we'd had, we'd been looking around and just hitting up all our people and all our friends. And we had more gigs on the books because we'd had a different bass player for a minute at the beginning. Um, and we had more shows, so we needed someone. And a buddy of mine, Frank, is like, you should talk to this guy, Jake. And we met up and, I sent him a couple tracks that we had recorded and he loved the songs. And then he saw live clips and he's like, wait, you guys really play. This is cool. He's like, okay, I want in. So I think even on that regard, like from the beginning, it's always been about like, what can we do live? What can we do to really set ourselves apart live, but also just to have fun because there's no feeling like being in front of a bunch of people and connecting with those people over something you love.
Absolutely. So how it works on the band? Who brings the main ideas? Tell us more about the songwriting process of the band.
Yeah, I mean, it's different for every one of them. There are certain songs that I've written by myself, top to bottom, and I bring those in. And then there are other songs that, I'll have partially done and I bring in. And then we finish together. The other day, right before tour, Marsh brought in a song that was almost done, but great, just a really cool vibe. So we finished that. It's different with every one of them. And regardless of who's bringing in most of the songs, it's like they really come to life when we get to them as a band. I think that's something that's so cool is the sum is definitely greater than the sum of the parts. So, that's what you want, I think, ideally with a band. You get chemistry going, and that really brings stuff to life. So, you'll bring something in that it's a good song, but then you play it with the guys and it's like, all right, this is something.
So there's not just only one songwriter on the band.
No, it's very, I brought a lot of stuff in. Um, but it's definitely everyone's really musical and everyone has great ideas. So it's thankfully with this group, there's no ego. It's always what's best for the song and what's best for the band. So I can't tell you how many songs of mine I've tossed out. And then there are other times where, there are guys pushing for a song that I wrote that I'm like, I don't know. And they're like, no, 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 this could be something. So and vice versa. We pulled that song out of Marsh, like, we gotta do this. Let's finish it. We gotta, because it's always about what serves the band best. And I think that's where we all lucked out, is everyone's looking forward together. You run into problems when people have ideas that conflict with that, but everyone shares the same vision. So it's been a blast.
That's a great state of mind. Fantastic. So let's talk about the lyrics. In addition to Breakout and Silver, you play 4 more songs during the Kiss of the End road tour:
Yeah.
Constellations, Struggle, Three Shades, and Lover. So
Yeah.
tell us more about the topics you talk about on your songs.
Man, they're all different. Struggle was Marsh's song. That's the one
Ah,
he brought in. And
okay.
a lot of them, it's always kind of what's going on. I'm not that creative. I just write about what's happened. So it's like, Breakout that was about, and I think we're all kind of like that. We're all pretty concrete dudes. I mean, there are times you let your mind and imagination wander, but everything kind of starts with some sort of truth in it, even if you embellish for a song, and even if you run off, there's got to be something that, even if it didn't happen to you, it's got to connect to you. And Breakout was just one of those songs. I think we were all getting ready for tour, and there was a lot of stuff we were really, really excited for, but a lot of stress and a lot of things happening, and a lot of one person thinks this and one person thinks this and someone else thinks this, and you get a lot of voices. And I just got to a point where it's like, fuck, like we just gotta listen to us and do the best we can. And Breakout was a very quick one. I had most of that done. And then I drove down to Tommy's place with Marsh, and we were just jamming on it, and everyone really vibed with it. That was a really last minute ad. That actually wasn't even, we went in to record that like 3 days after playing it, just because it was like, yeah, this could be something. And then Constant Constellations, it's just another quick one. I started seeing my girl not too long before tour. I'd known her a long time. She's been around a long time. We've been friends, but like, things kind of changed a little bit, and then bang that one out pretty quick. And then Struggle is Marsh's one that he brought in. He had this killer riff. It was just so, so rad. And he'd always play. And it's like, where's the song around? He's like, oh, like, it needs work. It needs work. And it's like, we got to do it. It's really cool. And, so the same weekend that we wrapped up Breakout, we wrapped up Struggle too. He brought that in, and within 2 days, we had, I think, like Saturday, Sunday, we crashed in Orange County, which is like maybe an hour outside of LA, at Tommy's, and we just banged those two out. Uh, Three Shakes that was just like Marsh and I were messing around with. I went over to his place to hang, and we were just messing with some music, playing guitars, and we had most of the guitars. We had all the music and the verses kind of done melodically. I was like, this is really cool, but there was no chorus. It was like frustrating because everything was sick, but no chorus. And I went home and I rewrote the chorus probably 30 fucking times. And it's like, let's just do something dumb. Let's do something singable. Like, let's have something. So it's counting. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3. Keep it really simple. It's like, and it's funny because when that happened, like, I didn't think that much of it, but I sent it to Marsh, and he was like, no, this is really cool. And then I sent it to my buddy Jacob, who's a killer writer. He's like, there are a couple guys I'll bounce things off of. And the next morning, Jacob calls me. He's like, you finished that song yet? And I was like, no, like, because we just had, like, I didn't finish the second verse. And he's like, I have ideas. Like, come over right now. So I was like, all right, it must be kind of cool. So I went over to Jacob's, and we finished that bridge together. So that was me, Marsh, and our buddy Jacob, who he's done a few things with us, and incredible writer, and one of the early proponents of the band, helping us push, and that was great. What else did we play? Silver. That was
Silver.
there's a guitar company, Rock and Roll Relics, that I play all their guitars and love those guitars. They're super inspiring, and their workshops like 10 minutes from where I live, and they have this really cool little vibe room set up where you can test stuff. So I was in there and I had that riff, and then poor guys, I sat there for probably like 6 hours playing the do 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 over and over, and came out with a song. And that was fun.
Usually you wrote the lyrics after the music, so I think
Usually it's sometimes Tommy's really good with lyrics too. He has a lot of really cool ideas. So a lot of, like, even with Silver, I was sitting in that room and I had most of the song, but I was like, there were like 2 lines at the beginning, in the first verse, where I was just like, it's kind of stuck. And I was texting him voice notes of just me singing into my phone, and he was typing stuff back. So he got a couple lines in there, and he's Tommy's a great lyricist. It was funny because when I first met him, I was like, he's a ridiculous drummer. And we would always just sit in cars after we hung out. We'd go to parties and whatever. And then we'd always end up in one car just blasting music till like 4 or 5 in the morning. And the way he talked about it, I was like, you ever write lyrics? Like, I feel like you'd probably be pretty good. And he's like, oh yeah, I love writing lyrics. Like, you never mentioned that before? It's like, and then all of a sudden he starts texting me stuff and showing me stuff. And he's great. Like, that's what's so cool is, everyone in the band really carries weight and holds their own. So that was really cool. And then that happened. All Over You is a song we didn't play on this tour, but we played at all our headline shows. And that happened because T was over at my place and we were listening to Foo Fighters, and he put on Aurora, which I hadn't heard in years. And I was like, okay, fuck, pause it. And I just started playing some chords, and in like one go got all the chords and melody. And he was like, okay, wait. And he just typed out the first and second verses like on the spot. So that was really like us just going back and forth, and like 10 minutes it was done. It was great. So again, that's what I always wanted in a band. I love when you have chemistry and you can feed off each other.
It's a teamwork. It's a teamwork.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. And then Lover was I got super sick with COVID for like, I don't know, the fourth time or something, like maybe a year ago or 6-7 months ago now. No, it was actually okay. I know exactly when it was. It was a bummer. I missed Sophie's wedding because of it. I was super sick, but it was in that means it must have been March, either February or March of 2023. And I was just super sick and laid out, and I have a little rug. My apartment at that point was literally a bed, a rug, and big speakers. So I didn't have much furniture going on. So I would just lay on my rug and play guitar, and I needed something to do. So I wrote Lover.
Right. So you just released 2 songs, Breakout and Silver, but Struggles or 3 Shades can be potential singles. Why did you choose those 2 songs instead of the others?
I think we wanted to really come out of the gate and show people what the band was about. And, the band has multifacets to it. There's not
absolutely
just one, we're a rock band. We're a straight up rock band, but, sometimes we lean a little poppier and sometimes we lean a little bit more riff rock, and, it's all us. But I thought it was important, and all the guys agreed to show, especially getting this opportunity we had to get in front of so many people. We really wanted to show kind of the bookends of the band. Like, this is the far left, this is the far right, everything else is going to be between, but this is kind of what you get with us. And we all thought those 2 songs did a really good job of, at least at a basic kind of fundamental level, showing you these are the goalposts for the band, and everything else will kind of be somewhere in between. But this is, usually about as wide as it stretches. At least at the moment.
That's the reason why. So let's talk about the music style of Amber Wild. Sounds like a mix between Led Zeppelin and Foo Fighters. That's my opinion. I don't know if I'm right or not. Tell us more about your musical influences.
Oh, we love Zeppelin. We love Foo Fighters, but it's again, all of us listen to, there's so much common ground musically, but we love so much different stuff where, you know, you might walk into one of our places and you'll hear Marsh listening to Robert Palmer, and then T listening to Morrissey, and then Jake listening to Motorhead, and then me listening to, you know, it could be Beach Boys or it could be Nirvana. It's like you
Beach
never know.
Boys.
I love them. It's like I think, and that's all of our heroes, all of our favorites, you know, they really pulled from a lot of influences. I mean, you look at Zeppelin, and the reason Zeppelin was Zeppelin and not what a lot of these kind of watered down Zeppelin clones are is because Zeppelin pulled from just an immense musical palette. I mean, they were pulling from traditional Indian music and blues, and then
Exactly.
British, Irish, and Scottish folk. And then, you know, it's like they're pulling from all these different places. That's how you get something unique. I think that's where a lot of the kind of Zeppelin clones lose it for me, is like, not to knock them, but it's, if you're pulling from one place, it's never going to be that interesting. You got to pull from a few places. And that's what makes all the bands that we love really special. So I think the fact that we all listen to such different stuff is a blessing, because there's enough ground, common ground, that we can agree on stuff and keep things going. But you know, everyone brings their own little twist that makes it more interesting than just four guys who listen to a ton of Zeppelin. Granted, I mean, I'm wearing a Zeppelin pendant now. Paige is my favorite guitar player on the planet. Like, I'll never say I don't love them. They're the fucking best. Are you like? And I love Foo Fighters. I think they're one of the greatest modern rock bands. Like Foo
Absolutely.
Fighters, Green Day, and the Killers to me are, that's it.
Absolutely. What was your feeling playing in a big arena during the Kiss of the End of the Road tour? Were you stressed about it?
No, I think the very first show, definitely a little more nerves, but a lot of
Yeah,
it had to do with, we're running in-ears. For anyone who doesn't play music, you know, a lot of the sound is coming from the big PA speakers, which are actually in
absolutely.
front of the stage. When you're on stage, you usually have either wedges, which are speakers down by the microphone that they kind of shoot back up to you what you need to hear, whether it's guitars or your vocals or kicks. Because on a big stage, sound goes up, it kind of disappears quickly. But we've always used wedges, and in this tour, we were using in-ears, which are, they're basically really nice earbuds that do the same thing. But we had never used them before, so that was a big adjustment. So, especially for myself, like that first show, singing with in-ears it's a different feel. So that was more than anything. That's the funny thing, is more than anything, I was just nervous about that. It's like, I've never used these, but after that, it was a blast. And I mean, that show was a blast too. In every show, got so much more fun and so much more dialed in and better than the previous one, that I think by the time we hit probably Cleveland or St. Louis, like the third, fourth show, that's when it was like, it was so much fun. Not that the first two or three weren't, but those ones were like, okay, now it's really just getting loose and getting to having fun and playing with the audience a little more and interacting with each other more. And, you know, once you get over that hump of the first couple, and it was just a blast. And to get to be, you know, to be part of that, to be the opening band at the end is incredible. Like,
Absolutely.
you know, get to share that with my dad was awesome. And more than anything, to see people react, like, I'm really happy to say we weren't getting polite applause. I mean, we had people really into it and standing, going nuts at the end. We had every night, you know, 15,000 phones lighting up the place. Like, that's an incredible feeling. And to get to experience that is really, really amazing.
Absolutely. What are the next steps? When do you plan to release a full-length album?
I All of us love full lengths, and I would love to put out a full length tomorrow, but with the way things go now, it just doesn't make sense at the moment. So we're
Oh,
really,
why?
because just the way that music's consumed on a larger level now, it's so singles based and so song based. With streaming platforms, you kind of got to keep things fresh and be putting something out every 6 weeks or so. Um, so we're looking to build up a demand for an album. You know, I think all of us put so much care and love and time into what we do, that I don't really want to put it out when we don't have a lot of people waiting. You know, that's so I think what we're gonna do is put out single after single after single and just
Oh,
keep in a ton, you know, build up that demand. And when it's time for an album, we'll gladly put one out. We're dying to put one out now, but I think as hard as it is to wait, I think it's smarter to put out single after single and keep playing a ton. Right now, we're setting up a residency for next month in LA, and we were supposed to have our last show of the year on December 6th, but that went great and it was a blast, and we just didn't want to wait, so we got another one on Tuesday, and then just keep playing. I think the biggest thing for us is we love playing, so we're going to play as much as we possibly can and keep releasing single by single until there's a demand for a little bit more.
So no album, but singles. So what are the next songs that you will publish on singles?
I think
Struggle, The Three Shades, Lover, Constant Constellations.
I think everyone should follow us at Amber Wild Band. Keep watching, because we will definitely be letting everyone know what's coming up real soon. Very early in the new year.
So talking about touring, of course, as you said before, playing live, it's amazing. So what are your plans to tour on 2024? Any chances to have you in Europe? I don't know if it's possible or not.
We would love to. I think, for the next few months, we're focusing, at least as of right now, on kind of our area. So, up and down the Pacific Northwest and across the, southern, southwest kind of area of the US and LA especially. And then hopefully summer, we would love to come over there. If we can get someone to help us out and get us over there, we're in for sure. We'll go anywhere we can play.
So no big tour plan on 2024 at the moment?
Not at the moment. We have a few things in the works, but right now it's just, focusing on getting a lot of new music out and playing around here as much as we can.
Okay. So thank you very much, Evan, for all this information about Amber Wild, about those new songs. We hope you the best, of course, for the next steps of the band, and we hope to see you probably one day here in Europe and, of course, here in France.
Well, hopefully we'll get there real soon. I'm hoping less than a year.
Okay. Thank you very much, Evan, and see you.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
I'll see you. Bye.
Ha ha ha!